Welcome to the video. The video is on understanding the marketplace and customer values, or I think the subtitle is Consumer Markets and Consumer Buying Behaviors. Um, I'm just going to do a quick introductory video. We have your resources to read and to work on and to get the details. And this is just going to be a brief introductory of the topics and the subtopics, but not going into any detail. All right, so the first one is personal characteristics that affect someone's buying behavior, a consumer's buying behavior. Okay, they're broken down into categories, which would be cultural, social, personal, and psychological. Cultural would be your culture, the American culture. Subculture would be the ethnicities within the American culture, and then the social class. And I'm not going into a lot of detail. The social class in the United States, a lot of people think it's very prevalent, but it's not anywhere near as prevalent in other places. In India, there's people that it's actually legal. Well, legal is depending on where you are, but it's actually acceptable to not touch these people or not even talk to them because they are untouchable or whatever. And even some European countries, even though it's not that extreme, you have the haves and the have-nots, and there's no in between, and it's very, very prominent. Some of you might think that's this way in the United States, but it really isn't compared to the rest of the world. Okay, so anyway, social. That's going to be basically your friend groups, right? Your people that influence you on a daily basis, people you hang out with, people you see, your family, your friends. We used to have real friends instead of just ones that we made with a click and got rid of with a click. But I say that tongue in cheek, but now online friends also have influence. Not as much, I don't think, as real friends or real social groups. Right? Then you have your personal things, your age, your life cycle, your family life cycle, empty nesters. People are always talking about empty nesters. That is a very specific marketing things to empty nesters or whatever. So that's one economic position, your economic characteristics. Where you are in the economy, and then your occupation. Not occupation doesn't necessarily. It does oftentimes equate with your economic status, but it doesn't have to. All right. There are our occupation is a good part of who we see ourselves as being. Sometimes will influence our buying decisions beyond the resources that it supplies in the form of wages and money to buy. Okay, lifestyle. And that can mean many different things. Are you someone who stays at home, or you whatever? It could mean your orientation and all kinds of different stuff. But generally, it's how you live your life. All right. Personality and self concept. Someone whose personality is one way is going to buy a certain way, and pick somebody's personality is another. How they see themselves is going to affect how they buy. And then we have the psychological. Those are things like motivation, perception, learning, formal and informal. I mean, the level of the understanding and knowledge and learning, and then beliefs and attitudes. Beliefs could be, religious, political, worldview, motivation. There's an awful lot done about motivation. I'm not even going to touch it, but there's basic motivations that you need things, else if you don't get it, you're going to die, and there's other levels of motivation. Perception is one. As a former salesman, I can tell you that perception is a big deal. Perception is how somebody thinks something is, right? I mean, I'm sure there's a better definition to that, but in reality, it's just how they see things, right? It might not be seeing the world; it might just be seeing you and what you're trying to sell them, right? If they perceive you to be a cheat, even though you've never lied to a customer in your life, guess what? To them, you're a cheat. All right. So perception is reality. That's what we used to say in sales. It is what it is. It's not something to take personally. You just have to deal with it. All right. And then the beliefs and attitudes, we talk about that. So all that is cultural factors or excuse me, not cultural factors, but factors characteristics affecting consumer behavior. Then we're going to go into the buying decision process. And this is just something I'm really going to talk about very quickly. The buying decision process starts with need recognition. Do I have a need? All right. And if I have a need, once I do that, then the rest of the process starts to roll. Right. The next one would be information search. I'm looking. I need it. Now I need to know how I'm going to fill it. So I do research on how I'm going to fill that need. All right. Then I evaluate the alternatives. All right. So I have a need. I research what's available to fulfill that need. I come up with 3 choices. Now I have to evaluate those choices, compare them against one another. And then I make that decision. Okay, I've done the comparison. I'm choosing this one. And then there's, that now the purchase is done now, but there's still another step, and that is in post-purchase behavior. How do you use the thing? Are you happy with it? One of the big things about this is I've known people who were very good at sales or very good at marketing or whatever, however you want to say it, that could sell ice water to Eskimos, as they used to say, right? Very, very good. But those people, the rest of us, we're competing against them, and we're like, wow, this guy does so much better than me. But I might not have had many people come back and return, right? I mean, in personal experience, I didn't, but I mean, I wasn't up at his level either. I mean, this person could sell somebody anything quickly, boom. But when you have that ability, you have to make sure that you temper that with making sure that they're going to be happy, right? Because post-purchase behavior, how they feel about it, they have like regret or whatever. Even if they don't return it, they're going to have that's going to start changing their perception of you as a company. All right. So that's more detail than I wanted to get into. So anyway, those are the 2 big areas I wanted to talk about, which is the buying decision process and the characteristics that go into or that affect consumer buying. Okay. So definitely this video is not all you need. You need to read your resources and participate with all the activities this week. And I hope we have a good week, and I will see you later.